I'm Bryan Hughes. Joining us today, Senator Joe Manchin. And Joe, I've got to tell you, it was interesting to watch the legislative session because one thing that we're really going to focus on today is discrimination. And it seemed like that they were constantly trying to roll back. You know, everybody in the great, United States is making great strides for gays and lesbians, but West Virginia started to take steps back.
Well, but basically, no matter who you are, where you're from, what your preference, what your race may be, or your sexuality, basically there's not room for discrimination in today's world. There's just not room for that. And what I'm saying, we have so many other challenging issues going on in this country, in this state, and around the world. To discriminate against somebody or pay someone inferior because there's a male versus a female, or because someone's skin color is different, or their sexuality or preference, and they can't do, if they're doing their job, then they should be allowed to do their job. And if their own preference does not interfere with their job, then there's no reason to speak out against that. But the one we're talking about is charter schools. To say that, first of all, charter schools to be sold as public schools. If it's going to be a public-private partnership, that means public dollars are involved. How can you take a public policy and turn it around and say, now, okay, yet you can discriminate against a child coming into the school because of their sexual preference or maybe their race? That's not who we are.
It seemed like it was almost government-sanctioned bullying because we've seen so many suicides from children who have been bullied for many times in their lives, and now we're looking at the state of West Virginia going, sorry, we're still going to discriminate against you.
Bryan, I don't know. I think we're a better state than that. I really do, and I think you have a few speaking, and there's a few special interest groups that are pushing certain agendas, and I think that we've come a long way. We need to go further. But the bottom line is, you're not going to change what happens in the legislature. When I was governor, when I was in the legislature, you get these personal issues. You might feel very deeply about pro-life, pro-choice, gay marriage, anti-gay marriage, death penalty, anti-death. Those are all emotional. You know what? Politics is not going to change you. You're going to believe what you believe. But there's a place for that not to happen. Once the whole country and the world is moving in a different direction, we've got to make sure we have opportunities for all of West Virginia to grow. We got to make sure our children got protection, our seniors, the things that we value. Now, if you start worrying about, well, I'm sorry you're not the right color, I'm sorry you're not the right sexual preference, I'm sorry you're not the right gender, where do you go?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. There was a friend of the court brief that was filed for, in support of gay marriage. You were the only senator that did not sign on that letter. What was the reason for that?
No, there was no reason. If it comes up for a vote, I think it's going to be handled in the courts. I think it's going to be handled in the courts. I have my own preference on that, but I'm not going to discriminate. I guess I will take Pope Francis' plea of taking, who am I to judge? I'm not going to judge on that, nor should I even vote on that.
So if gay marriage came up for a vote, would that be something that you would be for or against?
We'd have to consider at that time how it would come up, but basically it would be hard to oppose. But the bottom line, I think it'll be in the court system first. I think that's where it should be, that's where it's going. Because what we're talking about, distribution of property, inheritance, things of this sort.
It's a contract is what we're talking about.
That's a matter of law, Bryan, and it probably will be handled, hopefully, in the most orderly manner in the rule of law.
Let's look at the gun issue, the conceal, not having a permit here in West Virginia. It is on the governor's desk, and there is a potential he could veto it. Should he veto that? Should handguns, be permitted?
Well, first of all, did we have a problem in West Virginia? Had anyone written or spoke out to their legislators? I don't think you're going to find, other than a zealot group, a very small percentage of a zealot group, that would say we want this completely wide open and unfeathered. They were going down to 18 years of age, with no training, with no permit, no responsibility. Okay, that's just not who we are. My goodness, we're better than that in the 21st century. And to pass something like that, I come out openly against it. I think it's irresponsible. It's wrong to not have any training whatsoever. Talk to the police officers. Talk to the people on the front line that are out there willing to give their life for you to protect me and you. But you're going to put them in a much dangerous situation. When they stop people at night and you stop a person in the car, You can't see. I mean, a person
You
legally
have no idea.
could have a gun.
Yeah.
So how many people are going to be in jeopardy? I'm just saying, I do hope that the governor, I would hope very much that the governor would veto this and say that West Virginia is not for sale by special interest group. We have a legitimate process to go through. We have an open carry law. We have a concealed carry law that works very well. And the police and law enforcement protect that.
They trust that.
They trust it and protect that. Don't give unfeathered access to people without any skill sets, people without any training whatsoever, just to saying, you can do whatever you want now and go anywhere you want. That is wrong.
Let's completely change subjects here, and let's talk about West Virginia University in the NCAA tournament. How far do you think they're going to go?
Oh, I think we're going to surprise a few people. I do. I mean, I've watched the bench come alive. I've watched freshmen come alive that basically had not had that much playing time. But when we had two of our starters and two of our senior members go down with injuries, they've stepped to the plate. They really stepped to the plate. I know we lost at Baylor here, but you know,
I know it's like that Baylor hump. It's like Baylor, you just can't get over it.
We just didn't want to give them any false hope. We want Baylor to come in totally confident when we take them on, probably in the and really catch them hard.
Exactly, that's the thing. We're going to say, listen,
we've already beat them 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's nothing?
We're in good shape here, Senator.
Thank you
so much.
Appreciate it very much.